VX football fans. Welcome to another edition of the High School Lowdown, Vicksburg Post weekly football preview show. Alongside my evil twin, Corey Gunkel, I'm Ernest Boker, and we're going to take you through an exciting slate of games this week. First up on our rundown this week is Vicksburg, hitting the road, going over to Canton, take on the Tigers. Big game for Vicksburg, not so much as far as moving up the standings, but just really kind of maintaining their place. They're 1-2, a couple of losses in a row, really can't afford another one at this point.
Got to win one, like you said, and Coach Marcus Rogers said something really interesting that I thought that it's going to be really, really unique to look at. He said that ninth grade quarterback Joe Johnson is going to get a lot of playing time this week. He said that he's going to kind of switch him in and out with Marquez Pickett. Now, he did say that turnovers or bad play will not dictate when he goes in the game, but that he does want to get his ninth graders some reps coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you kind of reach a point that's somewhere in the season where you don't want to say you're not going anywhere, but you can kind of see when you're treading water a little bit. Maybe you're trying to salvage something for this year, or just not quite throwing the towel, but at least start getting some guys ready so that you can take that next step next year.
Yeah, he did that with the ninth graders coming up this past week when they played Ridgeland, and kind of just trying to get that injection of life going into Vicksburg, see if they can make a run, because they're not out of the region conversation yet, but still got to get some going.
Right, a lot of football left to go for sure. Up next, Warren Central, coming off a big win last week over Madison Central, goes to Jackson's Newell Field, take on Murrah. And another big game, second of about 4 in a row, like we've talked about for Warren Central.
Yeah, it's a daunting schedule that they have coming up, and when you look at it, this one might actually be the easiest one. It's definitely a tough task going at Murrah. And, like you said, they came up a huge win against Madison Central last week. You got to hope that you don't have a little bit of a hangover, which with Josh Morgan, you expect them not to, right. But this is a big one for sure.
Right, Warren Central's done a really good job of turning the page every week.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to really have put that behind them last week. The second win over Madison Central, huge win, first time in 8 years they've beaten the Jaguars. And this one they've got a tough task, like you said. Malik Deer, maybe the best running back in the state, over 3,000 yards as a 4-year starter. 40-something touchdowns, 50-something touchdowns, whatever he's got in his career. And a lot of talent behind him, too. They're not just a one-man show.
Right. This might be the toughest test for this defense, when you look at the teams that they've played. Malik Deer is definitely going to be the best running back that they face all year. So stopping him is key, and then putting points on the board.
Right. And Murrah, kind of an underrated defense, but they've kind of been torched the last couple of weeks against Madison and Clinton. And Warren Central did a great job last year. Not even a good job, a great job of bottling up Malik Deer. He had 107 total yards. But Warren Central really made him a non-factor. If you watch the game, really not much to it. They won 24-7 last year. So it seems like maybe their defense has a lot of the same parts back, and I think they probably have a plan for them.
Absolutely.
And our last game is the only game in town, as we like to say, when one team is home. The St. Aloysius playing host to Shaw. Huge game in the Region 2 1A standings. Shaw undefeated, St. Al undefeated. Really a must-win game for St. Al if they're going to try to win this region.
Yeah, it's the clash of the Titans. This is 1A versus 1B right now, and St. Al gets a little bit of an edge because they're at home. But this is one that, like you said, is a must-win if you want to win the region. And not only that, but I think confidence-wise, to snatch this one and continue to be undefeated would be huge for those guys.
Right. And more, these are... games like these are count double, really. When you get into the head-to-head tiebreakers, and with Shaw being undefeated in the region this late in the year, and St. Al only having 2 more games left in the region after this one, really a loss would probably put them out of the region championship race.
Yeah, and so this is huge, and St. Al riding that unbelievable rushing attack that they've utilized all year to average over 200 yards a game on the ground, and that huge line to just kind of dominate teams early on. I think this is going to be one of the toughest tests that they face this year, no doubt.
Right, Shaw, a very, very stingy defense. They had a little rough go of it the first couple of weeks against Cleveland Eastside and Wheeling, but I think they've given up 22 points or 28 points in their last 5 games.
Yeah.
So definitely the toughest test St. Al's will have had in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they can do against that, and if they can snatch a win.
Yeah. Thanks for clicking on this edition of High School Lowdown. For live scores on Friday night, check us out on Twitter at Vicksburg Post Sports. That's VIXPOST After the game, check us out online at VicksburgPost.com. The conventional spelling, VICKSBURG, Vicksburg Post. or just check us out on the newsstand on Saturday morning. Buy a paper the old-fashioned way. For Corey Gunkel, I'm Ernest Boker, and we'll see you next week.